Today's tutorial is the freehand method of drafting a bustier or bustier as some people would call it. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Favor and this is Styled by TST. From my starting line, I marked my bust points, my underbust and my half length measurements. These are very important when you are taking your measurement, so ensure you take it on your client. Do not guess these measurements. So now I'm going to take my nipple to nipple measurement, also known as the bust pan measurement. You can take this on your clients or you use the formula. I'll make a detailed video on how to go about all those formulas. So I'm just trying to explain that the dart I'm taking is to create room for the bust. So towards my side seam, I marked 2.5 inches, and towards my center front, I marked 1/2 inch. The 1/2 inch I marked there is to ensure that the middle is not too small. You must have seen tutorials or methods where they divide it equally, but I like to use 1/2 inch towards the center front so it does not look too small. Remember, this is freehand method, right? So here I just got my chest line measurement or my armhole line. Okay, I used 2 inches for mine, so just go up from your bust point by 2 inches. If you don't understand this, let me know and I'll explain better. So I'm trying to get my shoulder slope because we all know the human shoulder is not straight, it's slanted. This is freehand, so I like to add my allowance as soon as possible. So my armhole line, I just divided it by 2 for my shoulder slope, got the midpoint and came in by 0.5. That is 1/2 inch. And then I connected a slight curve. Okay, now I'm trying to tighten my armhole and I'm going to insert a new dart there, a dart of 1.5 inches. So I'm going to connect that back to the bustier I'm making there. Okay, so this is to ensure that there's no gaping around the armhole line. You're already seeing the shape that it's giving. So on that new dart line, I'm going to extend it by 1.5. Just watch this video. Okay, I'm extending by 1.5 so I don't have a shortage when I'm joining the side seam and my center front together. Since I have darts there and I'm going to join, I'll have a shortage, but adding that 1.5 inch extra is going to augment for that. So I was just trying to explain with bust darts to my apprentice. The same thing that you do with your bust dart, that you have to close it up, then reconnect. That is just what I was explaining to my apprentice at the side seam. But we're not using bust dart for this because this is a freehand method. I'm just using this blue chalk here to highlight the places I'm cutting out, so you can see how the under bust to half length looks, and you can see the under bust to my bust point. Note, from your bust point you come down by 1 inch before you take your curve. This is to ensure that you don't have any pointy edge. Okay, you'll see some bustiers that the bust point is pointy, so just do that. I'll explain better if you don't understand. So now I'm just taking my bust circumference divided by 4. Then the dart that I inserted, I'm going to replace it by the side, add 1 inch to sew the darts together, then add 2 inches my sewing allowance. Same thing on the waistline. So waist divided by 4, the dart I took there, then 1 inch to join my side seam and my center front together, then 2 inches sewing allowance. 2 inches is quite a lot, but this client requested for enough allowance. Okay, so what the client wants is what you are going to do. So for your neckline, you can choose to use 3x3 that most people use. For this, I'm making a V-neck and I want it a bit wide. Okay, it's not going to be like super wide, but just a bit wide. Then for the depth, I took the depth on my client's body. Okay, and I got 6.5 inches. So I marked 6 inches because I'm going to use half to sew. I'm going to use half when I'm turning my lining. So when you are making freehand outfits, always ensure you add your allowance. Okay, so can you see no side is pointy? I was just showing her another method where you place the center front on the side front and then you take your measurements, but I don't like to do that. I prefer to take all my measurements right like this. Yes, just right like that, and I'll still get what I desire. So just cut out. Again, if you don't understand, let me know. And you can support this channel by subscribing, sharing this video, leaving a comment. And if you want me to make a sewing tutorial, just let me know.